Captain Elira Voss crouched in the ash-gray dust of Araxis 9, her gloved hand hovering just above the surface. The ground still vibrated faintly from the impact of the orbital dropship's silent departure. Her team was now on their own. The mission was simple, or so Command had promised: recon and report. But there was nothing simple about the dead silence that blanketed the alien terrain. She activated her visor's sweep mode. No movement. No signatures. "Doesn't make sense," she muttered, half to herself. Her squad fanned out behind her, a disciplined formation of 4. Private Lauren checked the flank, Sergeant Rhea covered the rear, and Torres, the youngest, carried the heavy scanner. "Looks like a graveyard," Torres whispered, eyes wide beneath his helmet. "It might be," Rhea said grimly, "and we just volunteered to walk across it." Elira ignored the chatter. Her focus was fixed on the twisted spires ahead, organic-looking structures piercing the dull sky, like bones reaching upward, Drexery constructs. She'd seen them before on Kelva 4. None of those missions had ended cleanly. The team advanced with caution, their boots leaving shallow imprints in the silty soil. The air, filtered through their respirators, carried a trace of ammonia, harsh but breathable. Her Neuralink buzzed. "Captain, I'm picking up distortions," Lauren said. "Temperature dips, EM flickers. Something's watching us." "Whole formation," Elira commanded. "Torres, deploy the scanner." He knelt, unpacking the tripod-like device with shaking hands. A soft hum grew louder as the device came online. Then it happened. A pulse, like a soundless scream, hit them from the east. The scanner exploded in a burst of blue light. Elira threw herself forward just as Rhea vanished in a spray of gore. Lauren's scream was cut short by the impact of a jagged spike through his chest. "Fall back!" Elira shouted, drawing her sidearm. The alien shapes surged from the dust, 8-limbed creatures with translucent skin and writhing appendages. Drexery. Dozens. Torres fired wildly, backing up, stumbling. A Drexery lunged from the side and brought him down. Elira fired. Each shot precise. Each Drexery she dropped replaced by 2 more. Blood, hers and theirs, spattered across her armor. She triggered her emergency beacon, hoping the signal pierced the interference. One of them, larger than the rest, loomed ahead. Its limbs pulsed with a faint violet glow. A commander? Her arms shook, not from fear, but from the tremor of something else coursing through her veins. She raised her weapon, but it was too late. The thing struck. She hit the ground, her body convulsing. A cold, burning sensation raced through her bloodstream. She tried to move, to scream, but her body failed her. The Drexery commander knelt beside her, pressing a needle-like appendage to her neck. A sickly warmth spread from the point of contact. Then everything went dark. Silence. Elira didn't dream. Not at first. There was only darkness and the faint static of a fractured neural feed. Somewhere, a voice repeated over and over. System compromised. Recalibrating. She wasn't dead. She could feel her heartbeat, sluggish but persistent. Her lungs drew in thin breaths. But her body wasn't responding. Paralysis? Toxin? The Drexery hadn't killed her. They'd done something worse. Time passed. Minutes? Hours? Her mind drifted through fragments. Training halls back on Earth. Her brother's face, smiling before he shipped out and never came back. Fire. Screams. Her first deployment. Her last goodbye. Then, sensation returned in waves of fire and ice. She opened her eyes. Above her, the sickly skies swirled with pale clouds. The alien air stung her nostrils even through her broken respirator. She tried to sit up and failed. Muscles unresponsive. Something was changing. Her HUD flickered to life. Foreign code scrolled across the screen. Her systems weren't rebooting. They were mutating. The toxin had triggered something buried deep in her biology, something not even she had been fully briefed on. She lay in the crater where they had dumped her body like trash. Around her, the landscape was silent again. No movement, no life, but Elira Voss was still breathing. Her fingers twitched. Her lips curled into a slow, pained grin. "I'm not done yet," she whispered, voice like gravel. And above her, the sky rumbled. The first breath burned. Captain Elira Voss lurched upright, coughing violently as her lungs rejected the poisoned air. Her limbs spasmed, her pulse raced. For a moment, she couldn't tell where the pain ended and her body began. But she was alive, more than alive. Her vision shimmered with a new clarity, every edge sharp, every color vivid. Her hearing picked up frequencies she didn't recognize, vibrations in the soil, whispers in the wind. The crater around her was empty, no signs of the Drexery, just the echo of what had happened, the ambush, the toxin, the fall. She looked down at her hands. The veins under her skin glowed faintly with a bluish hue, pulsing like a second heartbeat. Her armor, scorched and fractured, had fused to her body in places. Something inside her was different. It wasn't just the toxin. It was what it had triggered. A flicker on her HUD caught her attention. Diagnostic scrolling. Words she hadn't seen before. Omega Protocol. Initiated. Biochemical architecture. Restructuring. 62% complete. Cognitive alignment. Stabilizing. She staggered to her feet, surprised by the lack of pain. Her body moved as if freshly tuned, the usual resistance of exhaustion strangely absent. She retrieved a blade from the remains of her utility belt and turned it in her hand. The surface vibrated when she held it close to her skin. A resonance. Whatever had changed her, it was still happening. The silence pressed in. A subtle shift in the light drew her attention. A figure, half concealed by the mist drifting over the edge of the crater. Drexery. Smaller than the ones from the ambush, but unmistakably alien. It clicked and pulsed, as though communicating with the others she couldn't yet see. Elira crouched low and watched. The old training kicked in. Measure, assess, eliminate. But something else had taken root beneath that discipline. A sharper instinct. Primal. Feral. The Drexery turned its back, revealing the power gland nestled between its shoulders. Weak spot. She didn't hesitate. In 2 bounding strides, she was on it. The blade punched into its flesh with a wet crunch. The creature spasmed, limbs twitching in confusion, then stilled. She caught its body before it fell, lowering it silently to the ground. No more were coming. Not yet. She searched the corpse, stripping away its equipment. A hybrid neural relay unit, Drexery tech, but partially adapted for human interfacing. She jacked it into her HUD port. The screen stuttered, then resolved into a new network of symbols, non-human but now partially translated. Hive signal active. Commander unit. Localized. Spire uplink. 2.4 kilometers northeast. Her jaw clenched. That's where they took her, where they assumed she'd die, where they injected her with whatever venom was meant to kill, control, or convert her. Instead, it had rewritten her. She started moving, fast and low. Every step was deliberate, calculated. The terrain shifted from loose ash to jagged rock, and soon bioluminescent growths began to line the ridges. Drexery bioforms, pulsing gently like the slow breath of a sleeping beast. She kept her distance from them, following the ridge line. From there, she could see the beginnings of the spire, black, coiled structures rising from the ground, writhing as if alive. A sentient tower. Commanders like the one that struck her likely nested inside. She needed to know what they did to her, needed to know if it could be undone, or if she even wanted it to be. Halfway there, movement to her right. A pair of Drexery scouts, communicating in bursts of shrill clicks. She froze, heart steady, breath shallow. They didn't see her. One moved ahead. The second lingered. She moved like a ghost. This time, she took the creature from behind, her blade sliding into the base of its skull. It died without a sound. She caught its body and dragged it into the brush. She paused. The neural relay was still live. A pulse of recklessness surged through her, unbidden. She linked it into her system, syncing the relay with her HUD. Immediately, her head filled with strange static, a chorus of alien thought. Images, sensations, memories not her own. The Drexery network. Flashes of hive structure, the layout of the spire, defensive clusters. And fear. They knew she was awake. That one had seen something, just enough to send a warning before she cut it down. Her heartbeat steadied. Let them know. Let them be afraid. She reached a jagged plateau overlooking the spire. It pulsed in the distance like a massive heart, the light emanating from within turning the mist into eerie curtains of color. She crouched, staring down at the living fortress. Her fingers flexed around the hilt of her blade. She had no backup, no squad, no command, but she had herself, and something new, something born in that poison nap and shaped by rage and silence. She would go down there, and she wouldn't stop until it was over. Elira descended into the valley with the silence of a shadow, her movements smooth, unbroken. The spire loomed ahead, an obsidian tower twisted like petrified muscle, its surface glistening with oily iridescence. It breathed. She could see the subtle expansion and contraction of the bioarchitecture, feel the vibrations under her boots like the heartbeat of something ancient and malignant. She was close now. Her HUD mapped the outer perimeter, defense clusters, patrol cycles, neural fields. She read the alien patterns as easily as any human schematic. The Drexery network, once incomprehensible, now whispered through her mind like a second language. The changes inside her weren't done, but they had given her a new weapon, understanding. A sentry crawled across a ledge above, its carapace flickering with light signals. Elira slid beneath it, pressed tight to the wall. She counted its rhythm. 3 pulses, shift, pause. When it turned, she rose, drove her blade into thin chitin at its neck, and guided its body down without a sound. The spire's base revealed a nest of conduits and living cables, writhing slowly, leaking viscous green fluid. She ducked beneath them and slipped inside through a service crevice. The interior walls pulsed with warmth, lined with sensory organs that blinked and twitched as she passed. She moved quickly, stabbing each one with precision before it could alert the hive. As she descended, the air thickened with spores, glowing faintly blue. Her respirator crackled, filtering. Her vision adjusted, enhanced by the rewired systems in her brain. The corridor ahead opened into a chamber like a cathedral. Tall, spiraling columns of bone and sinew arching overhead. At its center floated a crystalline node, webbed in neural strands, throbbing with light. A command nexus. This was where they coordinated, where the hive shared its will, where her execution had been ordered. She stepped forward, only to freeze. Another presence, the Drexery commander. It emerged from the shadows like smoke coalescing into form. Taller than before, armored in layers of translucent plating, the same violet glow bleeding from its core. Its gaze, if the clusters of eyes could be called that, settled on her with unmistakable recognition. "You," Elira said quietly. "You made me." The creature didn't respond with words, but the neural relay flared with activity. Not just recognition. Alarm. Confusion. A miscalculation acknowledged too late. Elira didn't give it time to adapt. She moved, faster than she ever had before, a blur of blade and motion. The commander struck back, a tendril of raw energy lashing out. But she was already inside its guard. Her blade shattered against its armor. It retaliated, claws slicing across her chest, sending her sprawling. Pain blossomed bright and hot, but it didn't slow her. She rolled, drew a Drexery shock baton, and slammed it into the creature's side. Electricity arced, forcing it back. She surged up, grabbed a spike of bone from the chamber wall, and rammed it into the commander's throat. It screeched, a sound not made for human ears, and slammed her into the column beside the nexus. She gasped, ribs cracking, but didn't let go. The spike twisted in her hand. The creature convulsed. Then something in her mind surged, a floodgate opening. Her HUD exploded with data. Access to the hive relay. Not just visuals, but sensations, commands, memories. The commander's death thoughts spiraled through the network. The Drexery reeled. She wasn't just a threat now. She was an anomaly, a mutation, a virus in their system. The commander collapsed. Elira stood, staggering, drenched in sweat and blood. Her breath came ragged, but her eyes locked on the nexus. The final pulse was there, one signal, one command, and the entire local hive would unravel. She approached the crystal. Her reflection looked alien now. Veins glowing, irises fractured by light. Whatever she had been before, it was gone. She touched the nexus. Her hand sank into the light. Override accepted. Pulse initiated. Termination countdown. 10, 9, 8. She turned and ran. The spire groaned, scream cracked. Caverns collapsed behind her. She sprinted through writhing corridors, leaping over ruptured conduits and burning spores. Fire chased her. Light swallowed her path. She burst from the crevice into the night air just as the spire erupted. A column of raw energy punched into the sky. Silent at first, then followed by a concussive shockwave that flattened the ridge. She hit the ground and stayed there, arms over her head, the earth trembling beneath her. Silence returned in the wake of the destruction. She lifted her head. The spire was gone. Only a crater remained, glowing faintly at its edges. The hive, disoriented, scattered, had lost its center. The network was broken. The war had shifted. Elira stood, alone, but not defeated. Something moved in the distance. Drexery stragglers, fleeing the wreckage, scattered and leaderless. She holstered her blade. Let them run. This wasn't the end. It was only the beginning.